Cedar Point Amusement Park is a amusement park located right at the border of Lake Eerie, and it is a phenomenal amusement park. It is my number one amusement park that I've been to up to this date, and it has been voted the best amusement park for 17 years in a row. Not surprising, this park has some great attractions, great roller coasters, great family rides, a huge selection, so much to do at this great amusement park. Very limited space, so that's the only flaw about it. However, other than that, it's a great park, my number one. I don't really think any other amusement park's beating it anytime soon. And so, we are doing the top 10 roller coasters at Cedar Point. Now, a lot of people are going to disagree with this parks countdown for my opinions, because this is one of those parks where everyone has a different opinion on which is their favorite roller coaster, which is one of their favorite roller coasters. Some of you may agree with me, some of you may have some disagrees, complaints, disagreements. Just leave your comments below and I'll check them out and see your opinions. So anyway, let's get started. Number 10 is Mean Streak, and Mean Streak is a quite rough wooden roller coaster. That's why it's only making the number 10 spot. It's really a roller coaster you just ride for the credits and call it a day. It isn't one of those roller coasters that you re-ride constantly. It really isn't one of those roller coasters. It's bumpy. It's kind of traditional, a little bit more to that. It's a little bit overly bumpy than what a traditional wooden roller coaster should be, but it's it's one of those black coasters where you just ride it for the credits and call it a day. Next up is actually the older brother of Mean Streak, which is Blue Streak. Now, actually, I think Blue Streak is way better than Mean Streak, if you ask me. It's smoother, and that's ironic because it's older, a lot older. Mean Streak is from like 1999, I believe, 1996, one of those years. Because I haven't really been. It's not one of those roller coasters I keep track with, and really no point. But this is one of those roller coasters, Blue Streak, that's another once in a visit ride on. It's not one of those roller coasters that you ride constantly unless if you really like it, and I wouldn't blame you. This roller coaster is good. It's small, family friendly. It's just a good roller coaster. Nothing major, it's just good. Next up is Wicked Twister. Now this thing is wicked. It's the tallest of its kind. In just general, it's the largest of its kind. It's really no longest of its kind, considering they're pretty much all the same length. They're half-circuit roller coasters, which means that they don't have a completely full circuit all the way around and back. But this is a fairly good roller coaster. It definitely provides a really intense feeling. It isn't bad at all. It's definitely better than like Blue Streak and Mean Streak, because it's just cool. It's a cool roller coaster. I don't blame anyone who considers it to be one of their favorites. It is a good roller coaster, no complaints. Next up is Magnum XL 200. Now here's the thing. What saves this roller coaster is the airtime. If they didn't have that exhilarating airtime rush, it would be actually lower, maybe not even on this list. It is a rough roller coaster. It isn't really that good. It has a traditional feel, but then again, it's from 1989. That's almost 30 years old. My mistake. That is really old, obviously, for a roller coaster now. That's why it's getting to its age. It's getting bumpy. That's asked for by now. However, it's being bumpy isn't going to really make the roller coaster any better. It's also headbangs you and probably gives you some aches if you have a bad back. Not really a roller coaster you should ride if you have any disabilities. Just putting that out there. Other than that, this ride is good for the airtime, nothing really else. Good roller coaster, but nothing major. And next up is Rugarou, the newest somewhat roller coaster from 2015. However, this isn't really a major roller coaster. This is more of a revamp from Mantis, which is obviously a lot better in my opinion, considering the fact that it's a floorless roller coaster. I consider floorless coasters to be a lot better than stand-up coasters. I'm assuming a lot of you agree. If you don't, that's your opinion. But in my opinion, floorless coasters are indeed better. This roller coaster was fairly intense. It had a nice drop, a nice inversions. Really, really cool. And it also has the first... I forgot the name of it. The tilted loop. I'll just call it the tilted inversion loop. Full tilted inversion loop. And it's actually really cool. It isn't a bad ride at all. Next up is Rapture. Now this is definitely one of the more intense B&M inverts out there. It is currently my number 2 invert, my number 1 being Banshee at Kings Island, and my number 3 right behind it is Great Bear Hershey Park. Great inverts, definitely recommended. It isn't like Batman the Ride clones, but this ride is an original, which is really good for B&M inverts, which you don't really find that often. It's a really good ride. I do recommend it if you go to the park. It's very intense. It's really for the adrenaline rush cravers. It's just a really good ride. Gives you a thrill. Next up is Gatekeeper. Now, this may surprise some people. This ride may be forceless, and this is actually my first wing coaster I've been on. I'm actually riding another one this year at Six Flags Great America when I go in June, sometime early July, I don't even know. However, this roller coaster was a disappointment to me for my first B&M wing rider. It's a great roller coaster. The drop is very exhilarating. You had some airtime moments since you're not really on the track, so you can't really feel it. That's the only flaw when it comes to the big hill over there. And the inversions are really cool. Not forceless, not really an intense roller coaster, but the sensation of it is definitely awesome. And now we're getting to the top three, the big three. Top Thrill Dragster. Now let me just put this out there. I'm one of those who prefer Top Thrill Dragster over King de Ka. Although King de Ka has that extra airtime hill, I think Top Thrill Dragster is smoother. The lap bar restraints are definitely a lot more comfortable, gives you a lot more freedom when you're going over the hill and just going at that 120 mile per hour speed. It's just an adrenaline rush for sure, nothing much to say about it. It's really cool. I also think the theming is quite cool. Theme to a race car, awesome. And now this may surprise some people, but if you've seen my top 10 roller coasters, like from summer 2015, you'll know that number one, I just preferred a little bit over Millennium Force. Millennium Force is my number 2 roller coaster at this park. Now, I have no complaints about this roller coaster at all. However, it was a disappointment compared to what I thought it was going to be. I thought this roller coaster was going to be like my new number 1. That's why you shouldn't really get your hopes up for roller coasters, because this roller coaster is indeed overrated. It's a great roller coaster, just makes my top 5 if you also see my top 10 roller coasters for that part. It's a great roller coaster. The lift hill is exhilarating. You're hovering right over Lake Eerie. And then you also had an awesome drop. Great overbangs. Some airtime. Not really meant to be airtime packed. It's by Intamin, my most favorite manufacturer. It's just a great ride. I do recommend it if you go to Cedar Point. However, when it comes to being overly hyped for it, I wouldn't get so. And number 1 is Maverick. This roller coaster deserves the title of being the wildest roller coaster in the West. I think this should be considered the wildest roller coaster in the United States. This roller coaster is insane. From the launching lift hill to the 95-degree beyond vertical drop to the launch, which is very sudden and quick and provides a huge adrenaline rush. This ride just great. The inversions are crazy. You just get whipped all over the place. Those 90-degree overbanks. It's just crazy. And those vest restraints really help it. With the hard shoulder restraints, obviously I didn't go to Cedar Point when they had that. It was, I heard it was a little bit more of a headbanger. It wasn't as comfortable, but the vest restraints really made up for it. And I could be one to say that it probably did really work well. Vest restraints, like Intimidator 305's restraints, works well. I think they should do that for every hard shoulder restraint roller coaster, like for example Fahrenheit, King de Ka, maybe even. Great roller coaster, highly recommend. If you had to ride one roller coaster at this park, I would choose Maverick. Okay, that is why I prefer Maverick over any other roller coaster at this park. Please leave your comments below what you think is the number 1 at the greatest amusement park in the United States, in my opinion. So I'll catch you all next time. Bye bye.